I'm here with Stephanie Girdlestone of Fire Mountain Gems and Beads. And you know, Stephanie, today's show is all about Asian influence. And you brought along a fantastic necklace that really encompasses like Asian beads and Asian coins, actually.
Yes.
So let's talk about that for a minute.
Well, I like coins because they bring in kind of that mixed metal. You know, in jewelry years ago, it used to be if you're wearing gold, you're wearing gold. If you're wearing silver, you're wearing silver. You don't mix. And it's really gone away from that now, where you can spend time actually, you know, mixing the metals and mixing things up. So
and with coins, there's sometimes copper, there's gold, there's silver. So
absolutely. Beautiful. And they're interesting shapes. You know, this is all uncirculated money from other countries, and other countries' money is just so beautiful. Even in coin form, it's different shapes and textures and stuff. So I thought, you know, instead of just putting these in a jar on my kitchen table, let's go ahead and try to do something with them. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you're going to show us how to make this fantastic necklace.
I sure am, yeah. So first I chose the coins that I wanted to use, and then I found this great little tool, and this is actually a hole punch. And it's kind of a hobbyist kind of craft thing for using with metal, thin metal discs or certain coins.
Okay, so you can actually punch holes
You
in the
can,
coins.
yeah, and I'm going to show you how to do that, and it's really simple to do. It's like a little drill press almost. So you just take the coin and you place the coin in there, and then you're just going to rotate it to punch the hole.
Okay.
And you can feel it, you know, when it goes through the metal.
Yeah, when it connects.
And then you're just going to back it out of there. So the key to this little tool is don't try to force the coin off by wiggling it or anything. Actually, unwind it all the way and allow the coin to drop off.
Gotcha.
You know, if you wiggle it, then you loosen it and weaken it a little bit.
And look at that, you made that perfect.
And it makes a perfect little hole in the coin with no rough edges. And as you can see from this one here, it actually makes a larger hole and a smaller hole.
So you can have two different sizes depending on what kind of material you're going to be using.
Absolutely, and if you're going to hang a lot of drops from it, you might want a larger hole or something. I do caution you to be careful with the coins because real dense metals don't do very well with this tool.
Gotcha.
So if you have to pick something that's a little bit lighter, but
So let me take that from you.
And then from there, I went on. And I took some chain, and I actually hung the chain here, and I just cut 20 inches is what this one is. And then I attached some of the coins at the top, sort of as a place marker.
Okay.
And then I found the center and did a center drop, and now I'm just going to make some drops and fill it in.
Great.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So these are the drops that I've made already, and what I would do is just using jump rings, is just go ahead and attach them. You can make it as full as you want, or you know, as sparse as you want, kind of depending on the look that you're looking for.
Depending on the style that you're looking for. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And then I really found this great chain at a garage sale, and it just wasn't long enough to be a necklace or anything, and I thought, you know, what am I going to do with that? So I actually added it to this, and you can just measure or count, and then just add the second length of chain. And I really like that it's a finished chain because it gives kind of a nice finished look to a piece that's a little bit more eclectic.
You're going to show us how to attach some of those drops?
I absolutely am, yeah. So this one is the start of the third chain that I have on there, and what I did was I took the coin with the drops, and I'm going to center that kind of like a frame inside a larger jump ring, and then I'm going to take a smaller jump ring and I'm going to attach it through the hole, and then through the jump ring, of course, and I'm going to close it down. And with jump rings, you know, you want to always twist sideways, pushing a little as you twist. Don't pull them apart because you wreck the shape. And then I would just do that across the whole thing. So I'm over here, I'm going to take a different jump ring. And feel free to use different textures. This is a twisted jump ring that I'm using here.
And you know what I noticed too, like, of course, because you're using it in a chain going across, you've made the holes in both sides of the coin.
Exactly.
So if you were using it as a drop, then obviously you're going to just do it in one side.
Certainly, yeah, you would just go ahead and do that.
So you've got like a little frame in there.
So I just framed the coin, and then I would just continue to go ahead and, you know, place jump rings on here wherever I felt like doing it, and then I would attach it to this main piece here.
Okay.
And you can do anything. As you notice on the big necklace, I put crystals or all kinds of things. And then much like I did with the finished chain, I just go back and I finish that. And then I just measure up, or you can even eyeball it if you want it to be a little bit more asymmetrical instead of so symmetrical. You know, you don't have to measure everything to do it. And then you could even hang drops off of that if you wanted to.
You know what would be interesting is if you use the drops, if you can see them putting the drops on the necklace.
Sure, I can certainly do that, yeah.
Because that's the kind of thing that I like to learn how to do.
Well, I'll tell you, the greatest tip I can give you, Katina, that I learned in doing this necklace is to hang it on a display head of some kind.
That's a great idea.
Because when you're laying the chain down, you never know which direction it's going.
Or
and
how
then when
full
you lay
it is and all of
Exactly.
that stuff, so you can get a really good idea of what it's going to look like when
Oh,
it's finished.
absolutely, yeah. And this is just a regular curb chain, and all you're going to do is just place it right in there, and then you're just going to close it up just like you would if you were doing it down there. And then I would just place that, and I would kind of take a look at it like I did with the other necklace and just say, yeah, I like that there. And then I would just fill in from there.
And the good thing is, like you said, that if you don't like it there, you can just take it off.
Oh, it's simple.
Put it somewhere. You can kind of design as you go along, which is really good.
This one actually started with a different drop, and I just couldn't make it work. It just wasn't talking to me, and I changed the drop, and the necklace came right together.
And then it started speaking to you loud and clear.
It did, and it said, I am beautiful, wear me. And so I said, okay.
So you can see, once again, let's go to the finished project, and you can see what the necklace looks like when all of the pieces are all put together. And that is just phenomenal, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Done a great job.
Thanks. Coins are fun.
They are fun. And what's great also is that you brought along with you some other examples of incorporating different types of coin jewelry. Now, we're looking at this necklace that's right in front of that one.
That's the gold one, and I used some gold beads on that, and just made sort of independent drops, some pearls and some crystals on that one as well. And that has a different kind of Chinese replica coin that's on it.
It's a really interesting shape, the coins.
It is, and I used a one strand on that and just made it fuller.
And then, of course, you have the matching earrings in front of it.
You should always have matching earrings when you're making a set.
Well, you know, we have a show coming up later on where we talk about incorporating trends and with knitting and also with coins, and these bracelets are perfect examples of that.
Oh, they're great, and the sound that they make is beautiful when coins are jingling together.
I think
it's really great. Yeah,
when it comes to it.
It is fun.
Okay, let's come over here. Oh, you know, jade. Stunning.
I know
One of
it.
my favorites.
I know it. And with the Chinese replica coins, it just doesn't get any better.
Yes, that's stunning. Okay, this one I love, and it has that really big, you know, all the Asian symbols, and you know, I like how you can get the symbols of hope and joy.
Oh,
and love and all of
absolutely.
those
Yeah.
things. Now, how did those? How did you get these all together like that?
I actually just attached them with jump rings. They came in a package like
they
that.
do. That's perfect, and you can see you can get all kinds of varieties. And just order them together, and all you can do is just sit there and just put them together, and it looks like you know, spent a lot of time.
Yes, it does, actually.
doing it. And of course, we have the earrings. Those are fantastic, and you have the little pearl on the bottom. And then one of my favorites is attaching it to a different medium, like your resin.
Yeah, definitely. This was just a metal piece, and I put resin on top of it and then attached in the coins just kind of in a different fashion, just to do something different with coins.
Excellent. And of course, there we have our sets. You know, if you're going to make the necklace, why not go ahead and continue the suite and have your earrings and bracelet? And I do love it as charms, absolutely. And it's great, like you were saying, if you're traveling too and you have all these leftover pieces.
Oh, yeah.
And to remember your trip by.
Absolutely.
Another different type of a charm bracelet.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much, Stephanie.
You're welcome.
Always great talking to you. Well, Katie Hacker is up next with this week's beading lesson.